right, so let's look at drawing Lewis structures for um, compounds that will need multiple bonds. Okay, and so the first compound that we're going to look at is H2CO3. I'm sorry, it's just H2CO. I apologize. So H2CO. The first thing we're going to do is determine the number of valence electrons. So our valence electrons, remember, these are our outer electrons. And so we look at carbon, which is in group 4, hydrogen's in group 1, and oxygen is in group 6. So that's 1, 4, and 6. There are 2 hydrogens, so it's 2 times the 1 valence electron plus 4 plus 6, and that's going to give us 12 valence electrons, all right? Carbon is going to be our central atom, so it's going to be in the middle, and we're going to connect the oxygen, and I'll put the hydrogen over here. And so when I connect them with these bonds, I've used 4 of the 12 electrons that I have available to me. So I have 8 more electrons to work with. Okay, so I'm going to start doing some lone pairs. So I do 2, 4, 6, and then 8. So that's all of my electrons. Okay, so just count them. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And so that's all 12 electrons. And then remember, we want to make sure that we have our octets around the oxygen. Okay. And so that's 2, 4, 6, 8. I need to look around my carbon. Okay, and I got 2, 4, 6. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, the carbon does not have an octet. It does not have 8 electrons around it. And then I just want to check my hydrogen to make sure it has the 2 for the duet, and it does. So the problem that I have is my my carbon. So what I'm going to do, I just want to rewrite this because all the circles and stuff, it gets a little busy. Okay. So here we go. I got my C, my O, 2, 4, 6. I had 2 right here, and then I have my H. Okay. So what I'm going to do, because I do not have an octet around the carbon, I'm going to take one of the lone pairs from the oxygen, and I'm going to make it a bonded pair. Okay. And the wonderful thing about dealing with multiple bonds is you cannot achieve your octets without the multiple bonds. So you're not just going to be throwing in multiple bonds because you can. It has a purpose. Okay. So when I do that, I end up with my C. Okay. I have 2 dashes for my between my C and my O, and I still have the 1 dash with the hydrogen. I have my lone pair, but instead of having 3 lone pairs, I only have 2 lone pairs, right? Okay, so I'm going to circle and see if I have my octets. So around the oxygen, I have 2, 4, 6, 8. Around the carbon, I have 2, 4, 6, 8. And I still have the 2 around the hydrogen. So I have achieved octets and duets respectively, and I've used the 12 electrons that I had to work with. So that one is complete. Okay, let's look at another one. We have N2. Okay, so N is in group 5 with its 5 valence electrons, and there's 2 of them. So, and VE is just valence electrons. So I'm working with 10 valence electrons. All right. So I'm going to start by putting a bond between the two nitrogens, okay? And so out of the 10 electrons, I've used 2. So I have 8 more to work with. And so I'm going to start 2, 4, 6, 8, okay? And so now I've used all 10 electrons, but when you look at this, you see that this nitrogen has an octet, but this one does not, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a lone pair, and if I put it here to make a bonded pair, now I'll have 2, 4, 6 electrons around this nitrogen. And so let me rewrite it so you can see what I'm talking about. So let me just bring it over here. So now I have a double bond here, and then I have those 2 lone pairs because I moved this one over. All right, so now I have 2, 4, 6, 8. So this nitrogen still has 8. This one, instead of just having 4, it has 2, 4, 6. So I'm still not good, okay, because I only have an octet around one of the nitrogens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this lone pair, okay, and I'm going to move it to a bonded pair between the nitrogens. And so I'm just going to bring it down here, okay, and so I have my nitrogens, and now I'm going to have 3 bonded pairs, and then my nitrogens. I'm going to put a lone pair here and a lone pair there, okay? So now when I count, and I'll circle the whole thing, I have 2, 4, 6, 8. And when I count this nitrogen, I have 2, 4, 6, 8. All right. And so the key with having to use multiple bonds is you will not be able to achieve your octet without them. Okay. You can't get it without changing a lone pair to a bonded pair. And so that's going to be the thing that helps you. All right, guys.